Hello, welcome to That Geeky Gal, a channel for all things geek. My name is Gracie, and in this video I'll be showing you how to make this felt baby Yoda. Now, I just started to watch The Mandalorian on Disney+. I know I'm late to the game, but like a lot of people, mostly like you watching this video, I fell in love with the cute little baby Yoda, or the child. From its long ears and its big black eyes to its mannerisms, this child is definitely adorable. Enough with the intro and let's get started. Now I'll go ahead and link all the materials down below. I'm going ahead and use this green felt that I got from this pack of 42 multicolored 8x12 felt piece or pack from Amazon. It was about $15.88 and this green one was the perfect Yoda color. Okay, so I went ahead and made some templates and I traced them out on this felt with just a Sharpie. I made 2 circles for his head and then I made like a little triangle shape, 4 of them for his ear and then his little hands. Now when you want to go ahead and trace these down, kind of like I'm showing here, you want to make sure you're tracing the front side of the template and the back side, and I'll show you why in a couple of seconds. Once your templates are nice and traced, it's time to cut these babies out, and bada bing bada boom, here are our pieces. So like I said, 2 pieces for his head, 4 pieces for his ears, and then 4 pieces for his hands. Now for his body, I'm going to be using an old sock and some rice. You can use anything to fill this up with, and let's go ahead and show you what I did. I went ahead and filled up the sock. I used a glass to fill up my sock, right? Here I am showing you that. And then I went ahead and tied it with a rubber band. I used a hair tie. It's all I had on hand, but hey, it worked. Now, by all means, I am no professional when it comes to crafting. I think that I'm just like any other ordinary person, but I'm going to try my best to explain everything that I can. So once I finished tying this up, you can see that the rice kind of comes out a little bit, but I went ahead and flipped the top over, and that kind of prevents from more rice spilling out. But this is what we're going to do, and here's kind of what the idea of what it's going to look like. Now, one important tip when it comes to crafting is always save your scraps, especially with felt. Here, I'm going to show you that I went ahead and made a template for his nose and for his eyes. I used a little piece of green felt that I had left over, cut it out, and here he is, his little nose and his eyes. Don't they look so cute right now? So yeah, always make sure you keep your scraps, and here we have our 2 pieces. Now I'm going to do the same thing, and these little white pieces are going to be for the inside of his eyes. I don't know what you call these. They're not pupils. They're like the highlights of his eyes, and you can place them any way you want them, and I'm just giving you some ideas. So now I made a template for the inner piece of his ears. So you're going to grab a pink felt from that same packet, trace 2 of them, cut them out, and here they are. These are going to go inside the front part of his ear, so you're going to need 2 of them, and that's exactly how we're going to place them. And once they're filled, they're going to be flipped over like that. Something I forgot to record myself doing was when I cut the circle, it wasn't an even circle, so I cut off the scraps, and those scraps I'm using for his little wrinkles. Remember, Baby Yoda, he's an old guy, 50 years old child. So anyways, always keep your scraps. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm getting each little piece that I cut out, and what I'm doing is I am just making sure that each piece has a nice smooth edge around it. Sometimes when you cut felt, it can look a little bit squarish or like 8-bit-ish, and you just want to make sure you just smooth out those edges, round them out a bit more. It takes a little bit of patience, but you can actually go ahead and do it. So I went ahead and did it to his black eyes, his little highlights, his nose. You can do it to the rest of the green parts, the outer parts like the head and all that, but you necessarily don't have to do that right now. I am doing the pink part as well. Okay, so let me explain where we're going with this. What we're going to do is we're basically using the felt as if we were sewing. When you sew, you want the good pieces inwards and the ugly pieces on the outside. So what I'm doing is I'm actually going to hot glue the pink part of the felt. You see where we traced on there? You want that side down, and you want it on the nice side of the ears, also where it doesn't have any black markings on it. Same thing with the nose. You want to make sure and you put the nose with the black markings downside because you don't want to see that. The black you can't really tell, but you can a little bit. And go ahead and just glue down your eyes, your pupils, or sorry, your highlights, and his little wrinkles also. Now in this project, I will be hand stitching some parts of it just to give it like a little bit of a nice finish. You don't have to, you can strictly use hot glue for all of it. It's up to you. I like the way that it looks with the hand stitching on it. So here I am just gluing on the last little bits of his little wrinkles, and just be careful with the hot glue, it can be kind of hot. And so this is what it's going to look like with the hand stitching. So what I did is I went ahead and I grabbed the needle and some thread. I double threaded it, and you can always look up YouTube videos on how to do that. And all I'm doing is just a basic stitch connecting the pink part to the green part of his ear. I went ahead and did that all around, and make sure you do the side of it as well. Like I said, it's nothing too hard to stitch. I think the most frustrating is actually threading a needle. You have no idea how many times I did that and how frustrated I got. But hey, the life of a DIY crafter, right? Okay, so here it is. I'm trying to really show you how to do it. It's kind of hard to record doing this type of threading, but what I did at the very end is I just went ahead and made 2 little knots to go ahead and close the stitch up. And here it is, a little bit of a close-up of what I did. So here's a preview of what the ear is going to look like. So you want to go ahead and put both nice sides together, and we're going to stitch this up. Again, you want to make sure that the ugly sides are facing you when you're stitching. And that same stitch that I did on the outside of the pink part connecting to one of the pieces of the ear is the same stitch I'm going to do all around the ear for both of them. Remember, you have to do this twice. And here it is. Alright, so once you're finished stitching it, you're going to go ahead and flip it inside out, and all you're just going to do is just push little by little to get the really corner of the ear. You're just going to poke it out. I used a knife, it's what I had on hand. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and fill my ears with anything that you have. I'm using cotton balls. These are from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use the cotton balls to fill up the head and the earpiece. So I went ahead and filled them up, stitched them up on the sides. Here I'm putting glue so you can see what I'm doing with the ears is I'm giving little baby Yoda his little flap that he has. And now we're going to stitch the face together. So again, you want to make sure that your good pieces are facing inward and your ugly pieces are facing out. I'm going to go ahead and just stitch about the top half of baby Yoda. What we're going to do is we're actually going to stitch his ears in place. Now this was kind of tricky for me to do on camera and by myself, but what you want to do is you want to pull your thread inside of the green part so you won't see like your little corner that you make, and then you can start stitching baby Yoda. You're going to just go back and forth, and it's a little bit hard because, you know, you do have quite a few layers of felt sticking to each other, so you do kind of have to push. Thankfully my needle is pretty big, so once I've stitched up both sides, leave your thread still inside, and then you want to go ahead and fluff him up. I really like the cotton balls, to be honest, you guys, because it just makes life so much easier. I couldn't find, right now with everything that's going on in the world, I couldn't find for the life of me anything to stuff his little head. So just make sure you stuff him up nice and well, and then just go ahead and finish your stitch all around his head. And like I said, make sure he's really fluffed up. And here's the finished baby Yoda headpiece. Alright, let's go ahead and get started with the body. Now what you're going to need from that same packet of Amazon, the 2 different colors of browns. I went ahead and got like a dark brown and a light brown. I'm wrapping it around the sock, and as you saw there, I went ahead and measured. It looks like it's about a 2.5 inch that I need to cut off from there. So go ahead and measure 2.5 from your darkest piece and cut that right off. And here it is, our 2 separate pieces. This top part is going to be folded over to make his little cloak. I'm going to leave about an inch gap at the top. And as you can see, this is kind of like the idea of where I'm going. Now, I don't have too much of a concrete idea, but let's see where it goes. Now, with this extra piece that we have, we're going to use this to make the sleeves. So I'm going to go ahead and fold this in half and cut it in half so we can have 2 separate pieces for our sleeves. Now here I was just kind of working with, you know, trying to figure out what I was going to do with the sleeves. I wrapped it up in a burrito just so I could get like a measurement of how thick the hand is. I'm just placing it where the sleeves would go on the cloak, and then I'm just putting some dots to where my holes are going to be, and you're going to do this on both sides of the cloak, okay? Now once you have your measurement for both sides, you're gonna turn it over, and what I ended up seeing was that one side was too high than the other one. Make sure you measure out like where you want your holes to be. I really liked where my right side hole was, but I didn't like the placement for the left side. So I just measured it out, and then I went ahead and eyeballed my circle, drew out my circle. Now we're going to go ahead and cut our circles. Be careful how you cut these out because we are going to be reusing these pieces for later on. So you just fold the felt and you make a little snippet, and then once you make that snippet, you can go ahead and cut out your circles. So here I am just, making sure that everything's looking okay. I went ahead and retraced that circle with the circle that I cut out just to make sure that both sides were the same size. And here they are. Both circles are ready and in place. So here again, just giving you an idea what's going to happen. Now, I thought these two pieces were a little bit too thick for the hands, so I just cut them in half. Here I am now showing you what I'm doing with the little hands, and it's the same thing as before. You want your ugly sides on the outside, and then you just stitch it up. And the hardest part is just getting the fingers back out when you do go ahead and flip it back over. I used a little bit of a stick side from a paint stick, and that helped me get the fingers out. And again, you just want to go ahead and fill your little fingers. And here they are, our little two baby Yoda fingers. Now we're gonna go ahead and stitch the arms or the sleeves to the hands. This was a mission, let me tell you. Before that though, let's go ahead and give our little cloak a nice little trim. So you want to do this on the nice side without any markings. And all I'm doing is on the edging of the cloak or his little tunic, I'm just making like a little border. Alright, so here we go with the stitching on the sleeves, hardest part. What you want to do first is you want to connect the hand to one corner of the sleeve. Once you get that stitched on, you're gonna actually be turning this kind of like you see this on the video. And then I'm trimming off the little bit of an excess that I have there. This was really tricky. Okay, because everything kept moving and it wasn't in place, and I don't have like bobby pins, or yeah, bobby pins, is that what you call it? Safety pins? I don't know, to keep it in place. So same thing like with the ears when we stitch to the head, it is a little bit difficult because of the thickness of the felts, but you can actually go ahead and stitch this back and forth, making sure that you get both sides. And it's okay if it's rough, it doesn't matter. Now what I'm going to do to connect the sleeves is I'm just putting a little bit of hot glue and pressing down from the inside, and we have our little sleeve. And again, we're just going to fill them up with cotton. Don't make the same mistake that I made at first. I filled it up way too much with cotton, so when I first placed it on his little tunic, it looked really ridiculous, so don't put too much. Okay, this is going to be another part that we're doing. We're going to go ahead and add some detail. So I'm using a little bit of the light brown and just giving it a little bit of a border onto his sleeves, just so it has like a little bit of dimension. This is really easy. All you have to do is just glue these pieces down. And his two sleeves are done. Now we're going to go ahead and give our little tunic, same thing, a little bit of that doubleness that Baby Yoda's tunic has. So what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be putting the nice side up and gluing it down to a little bit of the other color. I'm measuring out about how big I want this to be, the thickness around the band of the tunic. I'm making it about 1 inch, so go ahead and measure out 1 inch all across, and then trace it out and cut it out. And this is going to be able to fold over, and all you have to do is just go ahead and glue it down. You can stitch this up, but I didn't want to do it at this point, to be honest with you. I just went ahead and glued it on down. and this will be showing on the outside. Okay, now we're gonna connect our sleeves to our cloak, and this is what it's gonna look like. This is tricky, but you can still end up doing it. So what I ended up doing was I put my needle first through the cloak and then through his sleeve. Once I did that, I'm going to be using that same stitch that I was using before, and pretty much you just make sure you're going around it and you grab both felts, which is the cloak or the tunic, whatever word that I want to use, I can't decide, and his sleeve, and you just go back and forth, back and forth. It's a little hard to show on camera, but I'm trying really close to make sure. If you have to pinch it a little bit, that's fine. Make sure, one pro tip, make sure that when you do this, before you do this, your hands are facing the right way. At the end, I'm just going ahead and put some glue, and those circles that we cut out, yeah, we're gonna put those there. Now, as you can see, I'm gonna go ahead and put some hot glue down to our little sock, and I'm gonna put some more glue, and that way it doesn't really open up on us. Now, if you don't want to fill up your sock as much as I did, you don't have to. I kind of realized it kind of made him look like he had a huge belly, but it's okay. I'm gonna glue his hands down because I didn't want them sticking out, even though my daughter loved him sticking out. I just thought it would be nicer if I glued it, but you don't have to glue his hands down. Now, on the top, I'm gonna go ahead and add some more hot glue just to make sure everything is nice and secure. On the bottom, I'm gonna go ahead and glue that also to the very bottom. You won't be able to see this, so don't worry what color sock you used. Just make sure that you glue that part down. And then I'm gonna go ahead and pinch the corners on each side and hot glue those down. That's what's gonna help us keep our little head inside. And this is where our head's gonna go. All you have to do is just put glue on the inner edges, and then glue on the inside and stick your little head. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and measure around the very end of the green that we had left over. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle, as you can see. Just trace a circle out, cut it out, and this is what we're gonna go ahead and put on the bottom. That way you can't tell of anything that was there before. So put some hot glue all around. In the middle, you want this to be nice and secure. If you need to add more glue, you can add more glue also. And here is the child, nice and finished. My daughter absolutely loves this stuffed plushie. I hope you enjoyed this video, and this is what my channel is going to be about, geeky, creative stuff. Please give this video a thumbs up, comment down what you enjoyed, follow me for more, subscribe. I'll leave all my links in the description below. And thanks for watching, you guys. Bye!